Hey everybody, thanks for hopping on our team training and inspiration call this evening. Tonight we're going to hear from Becca to start us off because some really wonderful things are happening in her business, and I would love for her to share about kind of what's working for her and kind of some takeaways and learning points over some recent things. But she has not only enrolled her 3 to snag the Plexus Prize this month already on the 22nd of the month, she's also earned her Leaders Retreat buddy ticket, and she yay, right? Earned her Leaders Retreat, snagged her Plexus Prize. She's going to share a little bit about her takeaways from the call we had last night with Jean Tipp, CEO of Plexus. And she also was in our summer book club and read through Build to Last by Keith Callahan. And we just completed that book club call like 5 minutes ago. So I'm just really excited for her to share like some of her takeaways about, what's working for her in her business right now. And like the past month has been phenomenal in her business. So I just wanted to hear from her tonight. So Becca, you can share with us first, like what is working for you right now in your business? How does it feel to earn your Leaders Retreat buddy ticket and you snag the Plexus Prize? Like lots of good stuff. Like what feels like it's working for you right now?
I feel like sometimes I hit these points in my business where I need to like be really reflective on like what was working or what was I doing back when things were working well. Because when I kind of hit like the valleys in my business, when I'm like, oh, like things are not going the way I want them to, it's usually because I have stopped doing something that I was doing before. And so I don't know, like a month or 2 ago, I was kind of like, okay, like I need to switch up some stuff here because this is not working. To be specific, I was not happy with where my points were. I was enrolling people. I think I've enrolled like, I don't know, like over 30 people this year already, and my points were not reflecting that effort. And so some things I've honed in on are looking at my retention, like looking at my customer care, and being really honest with myself about how I've been doing in that area. And so I have been working harder at just staying organized, and keeping up with my customer care. I spent the last like week or so reaching out to people who I haven't talked to in a while, longtime customers who have kind of like fell through the cracks. And I realized like, oh, I haven't talked to them in a while. I should see how things are going. So I've been doing that, just kind of reconnecting with them. And another thing is working on the energy that I bring to my work. I kind of noticed I was just like going through the motions. Like I can do my Plexus Day tasks pretty well. But the energy I was bringing to like conversations with potentials, with current customers, like was not the best energy. And so with that came like some mindset work too. And just kind of like building the excitement back up, which isn't that hard to do. You just have to like put the effort in. And I feel like the book club helped a lot with that too, just kind of like reigniting, I don't know, that drive for achieving more. And so I've been working on the energy that I bring to conversations. I have a customer that is interested in building a business too. And so I've been chatting with her every day, which is new for me. I'm not somebody that like chats with somebody every day. To me, that like is a lot of work to remember to talk to them every single day. But I think it's been really helpful, and just like being really encouraging with her. And then just plugging potentials into different things, like as much as possible. Events, I think I learned early on not to give up on anybody, like even customers that like completely quit and you haven't talked to in 2 years, like you have no idea, like they will just out of the woodwork, like tell you they want to try again. Or people who say, nope, not interested. And then a year later, they're interested. And so I've just learned to not give up on them and just keep building that trust. And I think that that has paid off a lot. And then book club. Honestly, I want to go back and like reread that whole book again because it's like, I loved it because it was so like short and condensed, you know, the chapters are so short, it's really like digestible, but has like such powerful like nuggets in there. I would say my biggest takeaway was that mindset and personal growth like really are the biggest things like when it comes to being successful in this industry. And I would say that I found that to be true myself. And it helped me realize that I need to start showing up as the leader that I strive to be. You know, like if my goal is emerald, I need to start showing up as if I'm already that rank. When I'm interacting with people, when I'm sharing, in the way I have conversations with people out in public about what I do, and just like kind of change my posture as a leader. And then the Gene Tips call last night was just so cool. I mean, I've seen so many people. I don't hope you guys can't hear my dog scratching at the door right now, trying to get in. I'm hiding in the bonus room. We've seen so many of them talk like at events, at convention, leaders retreat, Super Saturday, you know, we've seen them give so many speeches, but that call was so different because it was like, so just like personal, like he was really just talking to us, and just like really authentically. And, you know, like you could tell it wasn't like notes, you know, like he didn't have like a bunch of notes to go off of, like he was really just speaking from his heart. And the things I took away were, you know, him saying that integrity was everything to him, and that he like had finally found that in Plexus was like huge, you know, like, and that is a big thing. You want to be aligned with a company who does what they say they're going to do. And I mean, I've been around long enough to know that is Plexus, you know, like I've never had a doubt in my mind about that. But it was really reassuring and just so cool to hear that from him, like in his own personal experience in his career. What else? Just like that they're always trying to improve, that, you know, wanting to really listening to what we need and making that a priority. And just his honesty in that, you know, they might not always get it right. You know, we've seen some things happen that were like, ooh, like that could have been done better, but you know, like that's like how we learn. And, you know, like they're always trying to get better and they do eventually get it right, you know? And it just made me feel really thankful to be aligned with a company that I feel really proud of, and that I'm able to speak confidently. Like when somebody asks me what I do or what Plexus is, just the ability to confidently say what they stand for, and you know that I represent Plexus. Yeah, I just rambled. That doesn't happen very often.
No, that was so good. That was so great. And I love the things you pulled out of the Gene Tips call, because I feel like communicating the heart behind our company is sometimes difficult to do, because it's such a wonderful, close-knit community that is always looking for improvement and is full of integrity and always seeking the good for the most amount of people, right? And like, that's truly what we're trying to do here. And like, we have nothing to hide and everything to be proud of. So I love that you said that. And I also would love to go back and read Build to Last again, like maybe, I don't know, in like a quarter or in 6 months or something. I feel like I could pull new stuff out of it, because the stuff I pulled out, even when I started reading this book a month ago, I feel like even now, if I reread it tomorrow, I'd be like, oh man, I missed that. There's a lot of really good stuff, really good nuggets. Just refocusing on what sort of personal development and personal growth and leadership development I want to be seeking, and how that affects my business and all that. But I'm so glad you mentioned your newer, I mean, she came back and asked you about working the business, your new sharer. Like, that is so exciting to have somebody. I failed to mention that earlier, but yeah, she's got somebody who is like, I came to her and said, I'm interested in working this business, show me how to do this. And that has been so fun. And she's working with someone who is so far taking direction extremely well, and is really coachable and really responsive. And being in close contact with her is huge. And hopefully you're seeing that it is like helpful and impactful to guide her along. And what a great opportunity to like work with someone, a brand new leader, right? And just after reading Build to Last, like, that's fantastic. You can put it all into practice and really like see how all of that goes and help her through
Well,
her
and you encouraged me to like do the Zoom call with her, which is not something I would choose to do. Like, definitely, I'm not a big Zoomer phone call person. Yeah, that would not have been my first choice, but I did it because you said I should. And it was actually really good.
Yay.
Because I know her from my due date group with Olive. That is how we connected. And so I don't have like a personal relationship with her. So Zooming with her and actually talking to her, I think just helps, like make it, I don't know, more personal. And yeah,
Absolutely, putting a
I have
face
to
to
do
a
that more
name.
often.
Yeah, hearing her voice and all of that. Yay, I'm so proud. It's so good. Like, I mean, it's hard to do things that are like uncomfortable, right? And sometimes when they like might not work out, you might be like, I did this hard thing and then it was a total flop. Like, that also kind of sucks. But like, so far so good with your new sharer and new business builder, and we'll be following her for sure, because I'm excited and I feel very hopeful. And I feel like it's this new level in like your leadership and your business. Like, I see it in you, and I'm excited, because I'm like, I feel like people come and go, but when you can really feel confident in your leadership and your ability to guide, and you have learned so much, and we've all learned so much about helping someone get started in this business and what works and what doesn't, and how to work it effectively and not take a lot of time, but get a lot of impact, and all of that. I just feel like there's so many little pieces to the puzzle that we've kind of really figured out over time. And I just think it's going to go really well for you and her. And so I'm excited about that. And I'm sorry I totally failed to mention that. That's another awesome thing that's happened to Becca this month. She flat out had one of her customers say, show me how to work the business, and she's doing it. So that is super cool. And just another congratulations, Becca, on having 3 this month, earning leaders retreat, like so many good things. And I also love that you said plugging people into stuff, taking advantage of events and groups and challenges and all the things. I know that sometimes there's like a lot of stuff going on. It's like some stuff you can't attend, or you just cannot take advantage of because it's not driving with your schedule or whatever. And that is totally fine. And it's not like we all need to be at all the things all the time. However, kind of being in tune with what's going on, so that when you are available, you can take advantage of things that are given to you, or offer people other opportunities to learn more exposure. That's huge, because people need repeated exposure to understand the value that Plexus has for them. So repeated opportunities to learn about Plexus and understand how it could impact them is huge. So I'm also glad that you included that as well, because I love events. And I think we were just talking about this today, like still figuring out which events work the best and have the highest like ROI. I'm like, okay, what type of event should we do next? Like we're kind of still changing how we do things and like looking into next month, like what sort of thing is going to work. So if there's ever any type of event you guys want to see or you think works really well for your people, let me know, or let's work on it together. Let's execute it, because I want to make sure that however your potentials and customers want to receive information or however they learn the best, let's go ahead and do that. Like we want to make sure that we make information easily accessible for them in a format that they will receive well and respond to. So whatever that might be, maybe it does need to be, a Zoom call, or maybe it is a live stream, or if you love the messenger event idea but want to tweak it, or the Facebook group idea but want to, fix some things there, whatever we want to do, that would be awesome. I think we should mix things up and reflect, like Becca said, like what worked, what did well, and what didn't, and why do we think it didn't do well, and kind of looking at adjusting things that way and altering things like that. It is very fun that your girl, Becca, came from an interest group, because I was kind of going to revisit the idea of building our potential pool, because we're at the end of a contest. We're about to start another contest. And I know when it's been a few months, it can feel like we've run out of people to talk to. And I know that we're all like, everyone here, does their Plexus Day stuff, and we're adding friends and we're engaging. We're doing the things. I get that. And I know all of you here are doing those things. But I think we can all feel that way sometimes too. Like when we're like, nobody's really like hot and ready right now. You look around and it's like, still kind of working on some people. I think we've each kind of maybe been in and out of those seasons sometimes. And so tonight, I just kind of wanted to like revisit the whole process of bringing someone who might be a complete stranger to you closer to you, and then hopefully turning them into a Plexus potential, or a Plexus customer, right? And the first piece of that is like knowing your ideal customer, which we've talked about at length. But I was listening to a training by Fraser Brooks on YouTube the other day, which I love his YouTube shorts. And I said this on the book club call, but I like love how short his training videos are. It's like my favorite thing. Like if you need some quick training, you're like, I just want to take in something right now. His stuff is like 10 minutes or less, sometimes like 5 minutes or less. It's great. He had a very wonderful way to illustrate how to identify like places to find your people online. That was sort of refreshing, like a new take on it. And I want to do this again. I mean, I know that we talk about what are your hobbies? What are your interests? Find interest groups or look at hashtags of things that you can relate to and all of that. But this was an exercise that he gave that I sort of want to do and like revamp my whole system. But he had the 4 P's. So he said, take a piece of paper and like draw lines on it to make 4 columns. And he said, the first one is going to be people, right? The word people. The next one is going to be places. The third one's going to be products. And the fourth one's going to be passions. Okay, in the people column, these are people you look up to, people you follow, people like maybe they're influencers, or maybe it could be like an organization, right? But things that you you really follow and you enjoy and you look up to. So that's the people column. Places are places like you live now, or you visited, or you want to travel to, or things like that, locations that you either have a touch point with or have an interest in. The third one is products, either products that you love or products you're interested in purchasing, products you're curious about, like that type of thing. And then the last one is passions, so your interests, right? Passions and interests. And so it was an exercise in going in and listing like 3 or 5 things in each one of these categories. And either like developing hashtags or going to accounts for these places. Like his example was like, maybe you want to visit Dubai someday. There's literally a Visit Dubai Instagram, or whatever. And he's like, who's following the Visit Dubai Instagram or hashtag, or who's in the like Visit Dubai Facebook group or whatever. He lives in Dubai. So that was easy for him to say. I'm like, I don't know if Visit Dubai is in my interest list, but whatever. But like that was the whole point of like, this is somewhere I'm vacationing next year or somewhere I have lived, or maybe it's geographic location in the current moment. He's like, in that one line item in your giant 4 categories, there could be a hashtag, an Instagram profile, or a Facebook group where you could access people. Right? So then you could do that for as many of those that you would want to, maybe pick out the top 1 in each category. And I thought that was just kind of a refreshing take on like, go find an interest group or find a few hashtags. Like, I just thought it was offered some more variety. I appreciated that. And I was like, that's a good exercise to kind of help people hone in on where they want to find their people and help them identify where their ideal customer might be. And visiting that interest group or following that hashtag or going to that Instagram profile. And then engaging and adding friends or followers from those locations, like as we've done in the past, whether it's, engaging on that account's content and following people who are commenting on there, or, finding them through hashtags or joining the interest group and engaging in the interest group and then asking your own questions and adding friends that way on Facebook, that kind of thing. But that was the 4 Ps exercise was really great. I think that's really good to find where your ideal customer might be lingering, engaging and adding friends from these areas, but then this is your cold market, right? Like then they are a perfect stranger. And adding them as a friend or a follower then starts that cyclical engagement process, right? And hopefully we can engage in a valuable manner on their content and stories, I think it was Kristen Boss who said, engage as if you are the only single person who will. So comment as if you're the only person who is going to comment, like what sort of value can you offer that person? Or ask a question as if you're like the only person who is going to see that. And we know that when people comment on our stuff or message us through our stories or like our photos or whatever, we feel valued even just with the engagement. So offer that to them as if, you're the only one who's going to do that for them. And that's a really good way to just add value and set yourself apart. So,
I did that last fall.
Yeah.
Fall and winter season when there are like lots of markets, like seasonal bazaars and things like that. So every time one had an Instagram or something, I went into all the followers and all of the people that went, and I went into those hashtags and started building a bunch of relationships, and I still maintain a ton of engagement with those people. I haven't had a ton of conversion. I don't think there were only a few that I think became customers and are now no longer customers, but it totally works in terms of like a local event that people that are like you might go to, or whatever, some Mother's Day activity or some holiday tea or whatever, who knows. Like that was, I feel like the holiday time, there's all kinds of stuff going on in town that you can like, even if you don't go to it, I'm sure you can like find the people that follow. There was like a health bazaar, I don't know, a few months ago, and I like, well, click. And that was, I'm still engaging with a ton of those people to this day.
Great.
But
Yeah.
like, maybe it'll end up, I need to be more purposeful with it. What the trick is then keeping track of the people.
Exactly. And that was sort of like the next phase of it is like now they're this cold market, which events is you can even make a 5th column. He was doing the 4 Ps situation, but you could make like a events column. Or we can name it something else. How about that? We'll name it something else and anyway, but yeah, he's like, then, you've got this cold market, but now it's your job to bring them in, like develop those relationships, and you do that with that engagement, right? And also being really, I think we are all really good at this, but being accessible was an interesting piece of that. If they ever engage back, like really being conversational, if they ever engage back, or if you leave your comment, make it something that maybe would garner a response or a story message or whatever. And when they respond, like really engage in that conversation and making yourself just really personable and accessible, basically, like you're chatting with them at a party, right? That sort of thing. And warming that up and doing that on that cyclical basis, like we were talking about, revisiting that, priming the algorithm, all of those things. And if there's ever a way to start a personal conversation about anything that they're talking about or commenting on inside of a group or posting, like an inbox conversation is like the way to go, right? For so many reasons, about strengthening the algorithm, you're having a more personal connection, building a more personal relationship that's not just a flood of comments, you know, on their feed. Yeah, if you can ever like ask them a question of like, I saw you just got engaged, oh my gosh, congratulations, looks like you're on the beach in Florida. May I ask where you went? Did you enjoy it? Like, where did you guys end up staying? It looked beautiful, you know, or whatever. Just expanding on that and asking personal questions can be really helpful. I know that we can't do that in every circumstance, but getting in their inbox and starting that personal connection builds more familiarity too, because I think it makes us more memorable in their eyes, and can really start a conversation that way. And then down the line, if we keep, you know, doing things like that, you know, it kind of interspersed in other engagement, when we reach out to them, it's not this like first time we've ever messaged them sort of thing, which is really, really great. And Becca and I were talking about a little bit of a reach out challenge that we were gonna do, and I was like, why don't we just have everybody do this? Because we were talking about her new share, and it's a good rule of thumb when helping people reach out to set some expectations that most of the people you reach out to are either not going to respond or they're going to say no. And maybe one or two might be interested in taking a look at what you have to offer. And setting that expectation is important, you know, just so we know what we're dealing with. Because if we feel, I think we can sometimes get in the mindset of like, nobody wants this, everybody's saying no, nobody is responding, but really we've only messaged like one person every other Tuesday, you know, it's really not that many people if you think about it. And it's like, well, you haven't really talked to that many people when I really look at it. Might feel like everybody, but it's really like only 3 people. So the challenge is like in the next week or before the end of the weekend or whatever you want to do, to actually reach out to 10 people that you've been engaging with, that you've not talked to about Plexus before, and just do a basic reach out. You don't have to invite them to anything specific, but you know, just one of those non-pushy messages, like really low stress, like, hey Sarah, your summer looked like it's been super fun. Your camping trip last weekend looked like so much fun with your kids. Not sure if you happen to see any of my posts about Plexus, but it's, you know, been really helpful for me for these reasons. It might not be your thing, that's totally okay, but I thought you might like it too. What are your thoughts on learning more about it? You know, that type of message, which by the way, I used to send all the time. Like that was like my jam, was that sort of message. I don't know why I stopped doing that, but now I've like, my reach outs are more invites to stuff. Like I find that I'm inviting to the next thing, which is also great. But I think I found myself waiting for the next event to do reach outs or something. I don't know, I need to reflect on that. But like, I think that's where I got in that groove of like, well, we're running these team events, so every 2 weeks I'm just inviting whoever's in my planner, you know. But the fresh invitation of someone to take a look at what Plexus might do for them is really important, because that's how we're bringing these people who are super cold, warming them up a little bit, and then really reinforcing that relationship and warming up the algorithm, and then, you know, getting in their inbox hopefully, and then straight up asking them like, is this something that you'd ever consider? And then they really become that hot prospect if they're like one of the people who's like, yeah, sure, show me what you got, kind of thing. And that is like the journey from cold to prospect. And then you can kind of go on from there. But I think the point is to be like not salesy or pushy, or you know, having a really short message, but also being relational at the beginning. And also I think like offering a way out, you know, like this might not be for you, totally fine, like no big deal. It gives them a way to like, they can say no, and it's not going to be mean or hurt our feelings or whatever. I always like that, being like, it's totally fine if it's not your jam. but you know, what are your thoughts? And I mean, I think the important part about this is to not let their no mean anything about you personally. Like, we are not Plexus. There's products that are Plexus, and they're just like, no thanks, I don't have interest in those products right now. They're not like, I dislike Erica as a person. That is not.
Unless it's because it's an MLM.
Yeah, right. Which could be. Then they're like, I don't
My
really.
conversation last week was like,
Yeah.
don't go back and forth anymore. Don't go back and forth anymore.
Mhm. And sometimes I'm
Stop
like, then you're not
stop
my people.
responding.
Yeah, and I'm just like, so you have had a previous experience that I have not been a part of, and it has influenced your point of view. So I'm gonna go ahead and move along. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna do business with you, sorry. But yeah, that's basically like the journey of, you know, finding someone in this plethora of ways, right, online, and connecting with them, building that relationship, and hopefully your content adds value in a reciprocal manner, right? Like, that's the whole point of adding someone that has your same interests or the same events, local events, or lives in or travels somewhere you want to go, or follows the same people you follow. Like, that's the whole point, is so that your type of content will also be relatable to them, and adding value to them. But I feel like maybe this is only me, but like at the end of a contest, sometimes like a contest period, or maybe it's the end of a month or end of a quarter, sometimes it's like I've gone through this whole cycle and I'm like, all right, where'd everybody go? I'm like, I had these people a few months ago and now I don't have anybody. And I think that if we haven't been intentionally building new relationships, which includes the actual reach out part of it and not just like engaging, which I know I can get stuck into. I'm like, I'm adding friends, I'm engaging in their content all the time. Where are you at? You know, like, I need to actually like step out, and I'm not at this point in my business, I'm not, I think you guys can probably all share this. I'm not worried about if they're uninterested. Like, I understand that not every single person on the planet is going to say yes to Plexus, and that is totally okay. I just need to remember to incorporate that act into my daily process more often. And bringing more people into like the prospect circle. So our challenge is reach out to 10 people and just, you know, with some, whatever message you want to use. I can send you the one I just said if you want, but you just make us up for yourself if you want to, whatever. But I feel like I use a variant of the same message all the time, so it's like not groundbreaking, but yeah, 10 people, but then write them down and track them. And I'd love to see if the ratios still stand, because there's something that I noticed for myself, and when I'm like inviting people to things, but I'm like, is this still legit to be like 1 or 2 in every 10 people is like gonna respond with a maybe or a sure or whatever, some type of positive response. So track them and write down your, you know, how many people said no, didn't respond, whatever. Because sometimes it takes them like 5 days to respond anyway, because they're not all up in Messenger like we are. They like don't do business on social media like we do. You know, most people don't. And I'm actually going to put up a giveaway post on the team page. So we're going to do this, and we're going to have everybody in the team send out 10 reach out messages that are just basic to people they've been engaging with. And we're just going to report our results essentially, and just challenging everybody to do that like this week. And so I'll hopefully get that up tonight or tomorrow morning. And we'll kind of go from there, but that's sort of my challenge for all of us. It's gonna feel good. It's gonna be like, I haven't done like a blitz reach out in a while. It'll feel great, I promise. It'll feel great. Just tell
I
yourself.
feel like I need to do like 30.
Yeah. Oh, you do you, girlfriend. You wanna do 30? You do 30.
I feel like I haven't done enough lately.
Yeah. I mean,
My
right?
funnel's looking like
Looking real skinny.
it's not looking good. Yeah.
How about I could do a giveaway for every 10? There we go. Or like a entry for every 10 or whatever the thing is. I haven't decided, TBD on the actual format. I just came up with that.
It's hard because the newbies
are like, what?
end up getting slighted a little bit, because it's like, I just started sharing. I don't have 30 people to send
Yeah.
out. You know, that's the only reason I'm
Mhm.
like, well, I definitely need to follow Becca's footsteps.
Yeah.
I'm just-
Do
I
like a
keep
whole
on
bunch.
like, yeah, I did my Plexus day. I did it all. I sent all of my messages that I was supposed to send. I did it all.
All the things in different forms throughout the day. But I think like we,